Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today I'm going to be doing a Kozmo deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play to summon out all sorts of powerful spaceships to go in for game. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come by our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Linking your name, description, every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Kozmo Dark Destroyer. This card is our main boss monster we're summoning all the time to our side of the field. It has a really powerful effect that if this card is normal or special summon, you can target one monster on the field and destroy it, which is a great effect just to be able to pop a monster on summon. And it also cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the grave to be able to special summon a level 7 or lower Kozmo monster from the deck, which all of your spaceships in the deck actually share that really cool common effect that if they are destroyed by battle or by card effect, then you actually get to banish them from the graveyard to summon a monster that has a lower level than them, which is just super cool. We then play a single copy of Kozmo Forerunner. Forerunner is great because this card helps you gain life points, which is just super cool about this card because you gain 1,000 life points during your standby phase, which is just a really cool effect for this card to have. We then play 2 copies of Slip Rider. Slip Rider is great because this card is a walking MST. Because if this card is normal or special summon, you can target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it. Plus, this card helps us step into a copy of Cyber Dragon Nova so we can step into infinity, which is amazing about this card. We then play 2 copies of Kozmo Dark Lady. Dark Lady is amazing. This card is a great card to be able to put on your side of the field because this card is a walking negate, which is super cool. This card has the ability at quick effect, you can banish this card to be able to special summon a level 6 or higher Kozmo monster from your hand. And it also has the ability that once per turn, when another monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can pay 1,000 life points to negate the activation, and if you destroy that monster, which is a really awesome once per turn effect. I love that about this card. This card is a walking negate, and it just helps out so much to put this card out on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Farm Girl. Farm Girl is great as a 1-of in the build, but you only need a single copy of Farm Girl in the deck because this card is a great ability during either player's turn. You can manage this card to special summon a level 4 or higher Kozmo monster from your hand, which is a great ability to tag this card out for one of your ships. It also has the ability when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can pay 500 life points to add a Kozmo monster or Kozmo card from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect. We then play a single copy of Sword Trooper. I feel like all you need is a single copy of Sword Trooper in this build, but it's a great card to be able to play in the deck to help you summon out one of your ships. We then play a single copy of Strawman. I have bumped Strawman down to 1 in this build, but this card is really good as a 1-of in the deck because it has the ability that basically once per turn, you can pay 500 life points to target one of your banished Kozmo monsters and special summon it, but its effects are negated and also destroyed during the end phase, which is a great effect to be able to use with this card. We then play 3 copies of Kozmo Tin Can. Tin Can is probably the best Kozmo monster outside of your copy of Dark Destroyer because this card has an insane ability that during either player's turn, you can banish this card to special summon a level 2 or higher Kozmo monster from your hand, which is a great effect to tag this card out for basically any Kozmo monster in the entire deck. It also has a great effect that once per turn during the end phase, you can pay 500 life points to reveal 3 Kozmo cards with different names from your deck. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 to add to your hand, and also you send the rest to the graveyard, which is a great effect for this card to have to instantly get you one of your Kozmo cards to your hand, like a copy of Dark Destroyer, so you can summon it out to your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Dogmatica Ecclesia. We don't go into the extra deck all that often, so a Dogmatica package is just really good in this deck because this card helps you get to your copy of Dogmatica Punishment or your copies of Fleur de Lis, which is just so cool about this card. This card is really easy to summon out to your side of the field because if there's a special summon monster on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is a great effect. We then play a single copy of Fleur de Lis. Fleur de Lis is great as a 1-of in this build because this card is basically a negate hand trap, which is just super cool about this card and it makes it really good in this deck because your copy of Ecclesia can search it. We then play a single copy of Maximus. Maximus is great because we play a lot of cards in the extract that we can send to the graveyard off the effect of Maximus, which is really good because we don't really need the extract all that much, except for a copy of like Cyber Dragon Infinity and Nova, and a couple of other XZs that we play in the deck. So this card is just really good to be able to send cards from the extract to the graveyard while also basically getting rid of cards out of your opponent's extract, which is just super cool. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's an amazing 3-of in the deck because this card just stops your opponent from touching the deck, and it's a great hand trap to be able to play in this build. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Kozmo Town. Kozmo Town is a great 3-of in the deck. This card helps you out so much because it has ability once per turn. You can target one of your banished Kozmo monsters and return it back to the hand. And if you do, lose life points equal to its original level times 100, which is not that big of a deal to be able to lose a little bit of life points, but recovering one of your Kozmo monsters is really big, so you can summon it out to your side of the field. It also has ability once per turn. You can reveal any number of Kozmo monsters in your hand and shuffle them back into the deck, and then draw cards equal to the number of cards you shuffled into the deck, which is a great effect to be able to get some of the Kozmo ships out of your hand, especially if you have duplicates in your hand, to be able to put them back in the deck to get some more powerful cards that aren't breaking your hand. This card also has the ability, if this card in the field spell zone is destroyed by a card effect, you can actually add a Kozmo card from your deck to your hand, so if your opponent does decide to deal with this card, it's going to get you a search. We then play 3 copies of Nadir's Servant. Nadir's Servant is great because it helps you send a card from your extract to the graveyard, so you can search out your copy of Ecclesia, which is just really good. We then play 3 copies of E-Telly. E-Telly is great in the deck because all of our pilots for the deck are actually psychic monsters, so this card basically just summons out your copy of Farm Girl, Sword Trooper, your copy of Straw Man, your copy of Tin Can. It just gets you any of those cards out to your side of the field, which is super cool. And this card is just amazing because then you can just tag them out for a ship, which is just amazing. So that's it for these spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing a single copy of Kozmojo. Kozmojo is a great 1-of in the deck, but I feel like you only really need a single copy of this card, unless you target a Kozmo monster you control and destroy it, and if you do, banish 1 card that your opponent controls or in their graveyard, which is a pretty powerful effect, but I feel like 1 is really all you need. We then play 3 copies of Dogmatica Punishment. Dogmatica Punishment, on the other hand, is a definite 3-of in this build because this card is insane. It has the ability you can target a face-up monster opponent controls and send a monster with equal or higher attack from your extract to the graveyard, and if you destroy that monster, which is a great effect to be able to use because we have a lot of targets in the extract that can work with this card to get you anywhere from a draw to another pop, which is just super cool about this card. This card is great as a 3-of in the deck, plus it's searchable off your copy of Ecclesia. We then play 3 copies of Back to the Front. Back to the Front is really good in this deck to be able to revive your monsters from the graveyard and put them back on your side of the field, especially your ships, which is just super cool to be able to put a copy of, say, Dark Destroyer back on the field because it's going to get sent to the graveyard sometime off the copy of Tin Can, so you can just bring it back with Back to the Front, which is just super cool. So if you don't even get it in your hand, you can basically just revive it with Back to the Front if you get sent to the grave with Tin Can's ability. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence is a definite 3-of in the deck to go along with our copy of Ash Blossom, just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with a single copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity. This card is very easy to summon out to your side of the field by just using 2 copies of Slip Rider to step into a copy of Nova. Nova is a great card to be able to make so you can step into your copy of Infinity and just have a walking negate on the field, and also something that can eat other cards on the field, which is just insane about Infinity. We then play a single copy of Dingirsu. We do play level 8s in the deck, so we can make this card, and when it's summoned to your side of the field, it does send a card to the graveyard, which is great about this card. Plus, it makes it super easy to step into a copy of Zeus. Other great rank 8s for this deck is a copy of number 97. Number 97 is great to be able to OTK your opponent with because it's super easy to summon out your copy of number 100 using this card's ability, or your copy of number 38. These cards are great to be able to go along with your copy of number 97 because with these cards, you're either going to get a 9,000 attack point monster in the form of number 100, or a spell negate with your copy of number 38, which is just super cool to be able to use with these cards to get the exact thing that you need. I love playing this package in the deck because it's so easy to OTK your opponent with number 100. We then play a single copy of AA Zeus. AA Zeus is great to be able to play in the deck so that you can board wipe your opponent. It's just really good. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon is great to be able to play in the deck as well because you make this card so easily in so many decks, and it's just a great card to be able to make in this build. We then play a single copy of Cyframe Lord Omega. Omega is great to be able to use with your copy of Nadir or any of your Dogmatica cards because this card is a really cool ability that if this card's in your graveyard, you can target one other card in the graveyard and shuffle both that card and this card from the grave back in the deck, putting this card back and recycling itself while also recycling another card, which is just super cool. We then play a single copy of Wind Pegasus. Wind Pegasus is a bounce when it's in the grave, which is just super cool. One copy of Titaniclad. Titaniclad gives you searches for your Dogmatica cards, which is great. 2 copies of Elder Intinis, so we can get additional pops with Punishment, which is just super cool. I love getting a double pop off of Punishment. We then play a single copy of Garuda. Garuda is really good in this deck as a 1-of because it gives you a draw, and the reason we're playing this card in the extra deck is it does have low attack points, but with the Tri-Brigade Arms, it doesn't really matter because Tri-Brigade Arms has 3,500 attack points, which is going to be pretty big for just about anything that you want to be able to pop with Punishment. So you send this first, then use this card's ability to send your copy of Garua to the graveyard so you get a draw and a pop, which is just really great. I love that about these cards. It's just really good to be able to combine these two together. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Kozmo before, you should definitely give this build a try. I absolutely love being able to use the Dogmatica cards in this build because it just makes it so much more consistent to be able to control the board. So you can go in for game with cards like Dark Destroyer, which is just hilarious. To be able to just summon out Dark Destroyer to your side of the field, pop a monster, and then just swing is just really, really good. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.